I would like to take this opportunity right now. We are going to switch a little bit on the schedule, so I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Professor Sunguya, who will give us the opening speech, and then we'll switch to listen to Professor Cohen, who is going to give remarks on block. Welcome. Morning, everyone. How do you feel this morning? So, for colleagues who have traveled many miles to Tanzania and to Dar es Salaam, I hope you're enjoying the warm weather of Dar es Salaam. So this is our usual weather. We have very flat kind of weather. For colleagues who have been coming here 10 years can testify that, I'm sure. My name is Sunguya. I'm the Deputy Vice Chancellor responsible for research and consultancy, and I'm standing here representing the Vice Chancellor of the university. And my role this morning is really to welcome you to Muhas and to Tanzania. I don't think I have those powers, but I believe you're here, so you're warmly welcome to Tanzania. It's truly an honor for the university to host you. I've been informed, of course I know, that you're coming from 17 countries, and this is the first regional workshop. And for you to choose Tanzania and to choose Muhas, it's such a privilege for us. So we are not taking this very lightly. And we thank you for coming, and I hope you'll enjoy your stay here, and you'll explore more possibilities, networking, research opportunities, collaborations, among many others. So may I recognize all of you, and I'm really happy to see some of the familiar faces that you have been interacting while I was serving as the Director of Research and Publications for 5 years, until Dr. Naya took over. So may I recognize Professor Cohen. Welcome again. We talked a bit yesterday. I hope we'll have more time to catch up. Really appreciating the work of Dr. Naya, who has been organizing this workshop. Where's Rebecca? She must be. Yeah. Thank you for helping us on this. Professor Bokusi, we meet many times these days, and I can't be amazed on a lot of things that I keep learning from you. Welcome back to Tanzania and to Muhas. Claudia, we have a lot of business going on, but I'm sure there's a lot of things that we need to discuss. My teacher, Professor Tarimo, Chief Candida. I saw Chief Candida somewhere. Where do I am? That is Chief Candida. Thank you. And all the colleagues that you really took time out of your very busy schedule. We know how researchers are busy. As faculties and then researchers chasing a lot of other deliverables in various projects that you have, and mentoring these young minds and aspirants researchers. But again, also with a lot of other responsibilities, but yet you found this is important and you came here, and we really appreciate that. One thing that I noted also is the milestones that this program has taken. Couple of years, but a lot of output. The capacity that has been built out of this network is amazing. Muhas alone has been blessed with, I think, 11 fellows, 10 from Muhas, and one was hosted here from the US. All these 11 have really moved beyond the expectations of everyone. Some of them are now PIs of their various NIH grants. Sawa here is one of them, our pride, but also Dr. Siana. I don't see Dr. Siana in the room. She'll be here, I'm sure. And many others that have, because of the capacity that has been built from this program, they have really raised up in the ranks, both in capacity but also in the research outputs that we have. In the region as well, I noted a lot of activities that have been done, and I'm sure if Muhas has been this blessed, then all other countries that local has some footprints, I'm sure we're experiencing the same results. This program, which brings the network of all of you here, is one of other close to 100 collaborations that we have at Muhas. And the list is growing, but quite worth noting the capacity that we are receiving or we are keeping on building out of the collaborations that we have. And in such a way that although the human resource capacity at the university has been quite low and growing slowly, but the minds that these networks and these collaborations are bringing up are really doing, may I say, wonders. In science, there's no wonders, right? Let me use wonders and become a layperson for a while. But we have appreciated the growth of this university for the last 1 decade significantly because of the collaborations that we have. Currently, I think we had the numbers yesterday. We have 135 ongoing sponsored projects. And in terms of dollars, 1/3 of the money that the university receives comes from the US. So it's either, it's federal government, so it's federal money, it's either NIH, USAID, but also other funders like Bill and Melinda Gates. So I mean, the support that we receive, that is building the capacity of this institution for the periods that we have known has been really tremendous. And out of that, because of that, the scientific output has also been growing very fast. We are not talking about local journals. These are high impact international peer reviewed journals. And as a result of all this, the ranking of the university has also steadily grown to the extent that we are ranked as #1 in Tanzania in terms of the scientific output and of course of the many other indicators. And in Africa, we were #8 this year. So it's because of the steady growth, it's because of the capacity building, it's because of the collaborators that we have, it's because of you people whom are convening in this room. You have blessed us a lot in that kind of a thing. But also, this kind of capacity has also helped us to build the capacity for dissemination, not only in terms of publications, but the research that are actually impacting the societies and the policies and guidelines of this country. Most of the guidelines that we have, that we are working together with Ministry of Health, whom we are very close, are coming from the research that we do at Muhas. Because the national research agenda has been adopted at Muhas, a bit improved and polished to get to give it the global perspectives, and therefore most of the work, most of the questions that are coming out or arising from the country are actually addressed here. I think I should be bragging a bit. Of course, we have other universities, but I think we are doing quite well. Of course, this is about Muhas, then I'll be speaking more about Muhas. But then we also, in terms of other forms of disseminations, this is one of them, the symposia that we've been having, the university-wide symposia, but also targeted symposia that we usually call, we target chronic issues in the country in terms of health, and we convene scientists with findings that are coming from Muhas. We invite policymakers that we know that after listening to those findings, they will change their minds immediately. And we have seen lots of changes that are happening in some of the rooms or platforms that we've been having. Those are university-wide symposia, and we've been having 10 of them. Last week was the 10th that we had. And I'm sure the speed will also keep rising in terms of those impactful symposia. Also, we have Muhas Scientific Conferences annual. This one for this year will be next month, so may I take also this opportunity to invite all of you for this one. It's now taking the international kind of shape. Not so much, but we are getting there. But specifically for this conference and for the first time, we are hosting a satellite session for all the D43, NIH D43 grants in Tanzania. So they will be convening, discussing their troubles, challenges, and successes, and therefore some of the findings, but in a way helping us all to network and connect. So it's going to be a connections or networking of all the networks that we have for D43 in the country. This and many other platforms that we have has made Muhas growing steadily. And we, although we have only about 4,400 students currently, we have grown up from 10 students, one program, university or institution, a couple of years ago to this one. The target is 15,000 students in the next couple of years, and a brand new campus that we are starting building 25 kilometers from here. And I hope next time that we are convening, we'll be convening in the new campus that we will definitely be, I think, in a good state or in a good shape. We have already the hospital. It's going to be a medical, specialized medical village with a university in it. The campus is going to be called Loganzila campus. So take time, visit that hospital. There is also already Center of Excellence for Cardiovascular diseases or conditions. There will be a lot of other specialized hospitals and centers of excellences, and the dreams will not fade. I think I hope we'll live there before I get grade. Yeah, so we all depend on you guys, your ideas, your continuing effort of capacity building for our junior faculty and our mid-level faculties, and also, I'm also senior faculty, right? It's sad to be senior, but I feel really blessed to be among you. For the fellows, raise up your hands. Fellows, previous fellows, you guys are blessed. You know, I was one of the applicants in a certain year and I missed it. That's how competitive this program was. I could not satisfy the criteria to join because of the quality of my write-up. Yes, and that's true. Sawe knows the story. And I accepted it. I had to improve my research skills. And yeah, so you guys are lucky. Consider yourselves lucky. But if I may borrow some of the words of our founding father in Tanzania, Nyerere, you have responsibility. If you were blessed to get into this step, you have a responsibility to train others. And that's the role that you have. It's not an ask, it's a responsibility. Because you were chosen as one out of, how many applicants a year? Yes. And how many do you usually? So you're close to 20% of those applicants. And those are the ones with criteria that fulfill the criteria. Hundreds, perhaps thousands others may be in the list, and they don't know about anything about local. So take this opportunity, learn more, build your own capacity, develop other networks, mentor young and junior faculties and scientists behind you, and together we can have a very powerful family or network of scientists who can actually turn the tides of the burdens of diseases in our countries, and especially in low and middle income countries. We are facing a lot of other challenges that needs evidence, and the evidence can only come when we have the capacity to actually conduct those kind of research. Now, without wasting too much time, because when I have a mic, these days I'm becoming almost a politician. When I have this thing, I keep on talking. So I have to stop and say just one word. Enjoy this week. Enjoy Dar es Salaam. Visit many places as possible. For those who are new here, the minimum you can do is go to Zanzibar. The minimum. If you have 5 more hours, go to Zanzibar. If you have a day, go outside Dar es Salaam, visit the northern national parks and others. Take this opportunity. the weather is good, the roads are good, and the travel is easy. Welcome to Muhas, and I declare this workshop, Symposium open, and wish you the best.
Thank you very much, Professor Bruno Sunguya, for those very warming remarks. We're going to move to the next part, which Professor Craig Cohen will take the lead.
So good morning, everybody. We're just getting set. I have a very brief presentation here. All right, perfect. So good morning, everybody. It's so wonderful to see everyone. And I just want to share a very short story about how this workshop came into being, and really with some conversations with Henry Sawe back in late 2019 with his team here. And again, thanks so much to everybody, to Professor Sunguya and to the rest of the team here for really hosting this workshop. GloCal and along with the HBNU consortium are helping to sponsor this workshop, and it's really the work of the faculty and staff here at Muhas and putting on this wonderful workshop. But it's become even from when we planned it in 2019 and 2020, of course we needed to postpone it, it's become even more important about bringing us together. Is this opportunity to be able to meet with each other formally through presenting our work, but also even more importantly, the informal meetings at breakfast, at lunch, at dinner this evening, and even in between at the tea times as well. And I just want to share a story. So most people know about CRISPR-Cas9, which led to the Nobel Prize and has led to all sorts of amazing innovations and potential on the precipice of curing genetic disorders, including sickle cell disease, which I know is a center of work being done here at Muhas. So how did that work come to be? There was Professor Doudna from UC Berkeley, so our sister campus across the bay, and Professor Charpentier, I hope I'm saying her name correctly, at the Max Planck Institute in Berlin, who were at a conference very similar to this in Puerto Rico, who shared a meal together. And one of them had been working in one aspect of trying to solve the puzzle because there had been earlier discoveries, and the other person was working at it from a different perspective. And together, they were able to come up with the design for additional experiments that were needed in order to prove their hypothesis, which led to the discovery of CRISPR-Cas9. So if it wasn't for that informal meeting in person, that would not happen on Zoom. So I want you to make sure that, I know some of you are sitting next to people that you know, that's great, but I really want you to promise me that you're going to sit next to people that you don't know. And maybe from disciplines and other countries and other institutions that you also don't know. And together, talk about each other's work, get to know each other, and out of that will come new insights. Because you here, I'm talking to the fellows, with support of the wonderful mentors, are the future to push forward with innovations that lead to helping people in Tanzania, Eastern Africa, and the world towards better health and well-being. So I'm going to put this meeting in the context of the Fogarty National Center, because I think a lot of you, when you present yourselves, you say you're a Fogarty Fellow, right? You might say you're a GloCal Fellow or HBNU or MPGH, but you are a Fogarty Fellow. This program was started 20 years ago. For those of you who are able, did anybody attend the CUGH meeting in Washington, D.C.? I see a few hands all of you. So there we were able to celebrate the 20th anniversary of this program. So this is the timeline. I borrowed these slides from the presentation from the 20th anniversary to see this program started in 2004. It was called the Fogarty Ellison Overseas Fellows Program and focused then on U.S. medical students. But in the next iteration, which was led by Vanderbilt University, it became the Fogarty International Clinical Research Scholars, or the FIRCUS-F program. And then that was the first time that it was opened up to both U.S. fellows, postdocs, and postdocs from partner institutions around the world. We were fortunate to have a few fellows in Kenya, where a lot of my collaboration had been with Professor Bakusi at that time. And that program then grew into the Global Health Fellows and Global Health Program for Fellows and Scholars, which GloCal is one of the original 5 programs that were established in 2012. You can see the consortia listed there, which then there's been 2 competitive funding cycles. We're now in the 3rd cycle. It's called Launch, or Global Launch Program. And now we are fortunate to have 7 consortia that are part of this program. And overall, has trained almost 1,500 people over those 20 years around the world. Amazing. And so you're part of a long history, and we hope that this program will continue for decades to come. So you were part of a family, a growing family, on multiple generations. You can see the 45 countries are highlighted here. Not all the countries are eligible. G20 countries became ineligible about 7 years ago. But you can see the variety of countries with a large focus on Africa, but also in Latin America and South and Southeast Asia. China is no longer eligible. Brazil is no longer eligible because they're G20 countries. And 54% of all the fellows have been either from or worked, if they're U.S. fellows, worked in Africa. So a big focus on capacity building in Africa. This also looks at the how equitable training has been. Again, the funding comes from Fogarty and from about 15 of the 31 institutes at NIH, institutes, offices, and centers at NIH. And there are notice of award specifies a certain percentage of our trainees need to come from the U.S. These are both postdocs and advanced doctoral and professional students. But then also a high percentage, as you can see here in the dark blue bands, that come from our partner institutions, such as Muhas, Kemmery, Infectious Disease Institute, the Macquarie University, and many other institutions that you come from. So we now have, as I mentioned, 7 consortia. And I just want you to raise your hands, because I think we have representatives from all 7 consortia. So whether you're a fellow or faculty associated with one or more of these consortia, I'm looking at Professor Bakusi, who's affiliated with more than one, just raise your hand. So if you're affiliated with Achieve, raise your hand. All right, maybe a clap for Achieve. And I know that the Professor Sasamwala is hopefully going to make it. He's not able to come, or we're not sure. So the PI of that program is at Washington University. He was planning to come, but unfortunately he's not able to make it. And then if you're with the Global Health Equity Scholars Program, GHES, raise your hand. All right. And that program has been led historically by UC Berkeley, again, our sister campus, and is now led by Yale University with UC Berkeley as one of the consortium members. If you're with Insight, one of the other new programs, raise your hand. Hey! All right. Is that only one person? All right. So that program is led by University of Maryland with partner institutions in the U.S. and around the world. Next, if you're with MPGH, which is led by the University of Washington, raise your hand. Elizabeth. All right. Welcome. If you're with HBNU, again, a sponsor of this workshop, raise your hand. All right. Great. If you're with UGNT, which is led by the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, raise your hand. Excellent. And then if you're with GloCal, raise your hand. So high proportion. There you go. Kimberly Bale would have really loved to have been here, but unfortunately wasn't not able to make it. So she's here in spirit, and she definitely helped a lot on our side to help make this happen. These programs are, you're very familiar with these programs, but I know there are faculty. The reason I'm bringing this slide up is I know there's faculty here from Muhas that may not be directly affiliated with one of these consortia. So I just briefly want to just mention the various components. This is pretty standard for all of the 7 consortia. By the way, I'm so happy to see the representatives from all 7 consortia. It's really fantastic. So research project is really the central focus, right? So you're being funded for 1 year to conduct an independent research project over the year. It may extend. Most people, at least in GloCal, get a 6-month no-cost extension if that's required. Mentorship is a cornerstone of this project, right? You all have a mentor from your host institution, so if it's Muhas or Emory or IDI, and then you all have a co-mentor, a co-lead mentor from your primary U.S. institution, and then many programs, or most programs, have an additional mentor added as well, such as GloCal. So it's to encourage transdisciplinarity of the research projects which you're leading, and so you get more input from your mentorship team. Global health education is also an element. GloCal provides resources predominantly for online. I would even consider this workshop an extension of the global health education, which is provided and supported through these programs. And lastly, career development is also part of all the programs. And we have a seminar series for GloCal. I think all the programs have something similar as well to help with your professional development. And ideally, the mentorship and career development is something that extends far beyond the 1-year program of your fellowship. A new element for the current funding cycle is going to be the U.S., if you haven't already had the opportunity, for the fellows that are coming, the international fellows, is to spend 1 to 3 months of your time at your host U.S. institution. And this slide is to kind of prompt me to remind you what it's all about. Some of you, the international fellows, have had the opportunity in the past to spend time in the U.S., but some of you have not. And so the reason I bring that up, the larger picture, is really it's an opportunity for to explore our culture. Right? We have in the U.S. we have a very rich culture, broadly speaking, representative of cultures from all over the world. And I think most of the institutions are based in urban areas that provide real, wonderful opportunities for exploring the culture, whether it's outdoor events that's shown here, this is in San Francisco, or whether it's other opportunities through the arts and so forth, and also just meeting other people, meeting Americans. We are friendly. We like to have people over for dinners and share stories, and we like to learn from people from around the world as well. For those of you who are doing lab-based work, or where lab might be part of your research, there's opportunities to work in labs. I don't know if Mohammed is here from Muhas. Yeah, all right, hey Mohammed. He was our first, from this current cohort, our first GloCal fellow to spend time at UCSF and working with the CRISPR-Cas9 group that's working on genetic cures for individuals living with sickle cell disease. And again, Julie McConney with others here are working on expanding that program here. So Mohammed, maybe later on you can share your experience about how your time at UCSF has benefited you. And then there's opportunity if you're going later in the year, or maybe some people are extending into the second year to go to your U.S. institution. You'll use that time to actually analyze data and write papers and those sorts of work. So that's the analysis. And then importantly, mentorship. It's really an opportunity to build that long-lasting, potentially career-lasting mentorship relationship with your U.S. mentors. We also pride ourselves, so now there are 7 consortia, we collaborate a lot together, both as the PIs, but especially as the program managers. I'm sure many of you have seen this already. This event is an example. So back in the first iteration of the first 5-year grant, we came together and led a mentor the mentor workshops in 5 different regions around the world, which led to a special issue on mentoring in global health focused on low and middle income countries. We have that's a photo of the orientation with the director of NIH at the time. So unfortunately, the people here, we specifically found these last 3 cohorts have not had the chance to meet together. But our next, you'll be glad to hear the next orientation will be in person the 2nd week in July. So we'll be able to bring everyone together again. And then we collaborate on CGH. We also collaborated more recently on decolonizing and democratizing global health. And I think you've all been able to take part of that program over the past 3 years as well. And Shaili Prasad from Minnesota has been fabulous at helping to lead that initiative. So that's about it. I really just want to welcome you here. Please come up to me, tea, lunch, whatever, or when I hear your story and learn from you. So thank you so much.